Hey friends, this is Marilyn from Tarot Clarity. Today is Saturday, November 15th. And wow, it's getting crazy. It's really getting crazy here. You know, with this we're getting to the point, the time of year, I don't want to just forget this thought, where I come to the end of the year and I want to reevaluate some of the readings that I did for this year, at either the end of last year or the beginning of this year. I think I was a little late last year, and I actually did political read in January sometime. And then that's also, I think, when I did my personal one. So I do a lot of reads throughout the year, like on crime that has, occurred in the course of the year. And also on political things. But the ones that I like to revisit them. I can't always, I have so many videos, it's really almost impossible for me to find them and dig them up. But I think I code the ones for the year, like with a special code that I can find them easily. So we will be revisiting those, I guess, at the end of December. One thing I do want, and another thing is, for those of you who are members or would like to be members, you can get in on this membership contest. I only have about half of you in the bowl. Now I realize that not every single person wants to have a tarot reading. I'll do a signature spread for the winner. I know not everybody wants to have a reading done, and of course it's completely private. It's just a reading that I do and then share with that individual person. It's not like I'm going to put it out on the channel, or I would never do something like that. But I thought it would be a nice way to thank my members. I mean, I do member only videos, and then I also will do member only, like they get first sneak peek on something, but I'll share it later, a couple days later or a week later, something like that. But I thought this would be a nice gesture to just give my members, for 99 cents a month. That's only $11.77 a year, and you have 12 months to have a chance to win one of the monthly pulls, right? So $11.77 or whatever it is pretty good value for a $60 value, what I charge for my signature spreads, and that price hasn't changed in a long time. I've kept my prices there because I think it's important to make tarot available for those who are interested in having it. Okay, today we have to talk about the elephant in the room. We got to. I mean, there's so many angles to this elephant in the room story. With the e-files, and now his latest, whose latest thing. Well, one of the latest things. I mean, every day there's about a dozen things because it's all diversion. He's the master of diversion. But one of the things he's doing now is saying, I require, or I demand, his person whose initials are PB to disclose every occasion where former President BC appears in the e-files. Okay. What he fails to realize is that most of us who fall on the other side of the red line aren't in a cult. And if BC goes down because he was determined to be a petty, oh well, he needs to go down. We're not in a cult. You guys on the red side are the cult. You care who goes down on your side. If somebody on the blue team turns out that they went there and they had whatever they did, they need to go down. Like, that's a threat. Like, oh, we're going to disclose Democrats, who went there. What, you think that worries us? We don't care. I mean, it might matter to the individual whose name is going to get disclosed, but and it's just so transparent, because why doesn't he want everyone revealed? Why does he just want Democrats revealed? Right? Why is he concerned? Because obvious. It's obvious. It's obvious, you know. But he counts on his constituents to be really, really stupid. And whoever is still hanging in there with him must be. Must be. So today, I don't know what we're going to do a read on. I'll have to go off camera and think of it. I'll be right back. I did a reading recently, and because I do some readings in advance, I do like several readings, and I did one recently a couple weeks ago, or maybe a week or two ago, and I forgot to release it. And it was regarding what's in his head, like what's he thinking about. Now, I did it on the heels right after the election. So if I were to release it today, I realize that you'll say, Marilyn, that election happened 2 weeks ago or whatever. So I don't want to, you know, I probably won't release it. But I'm just interested to know now, a week or two after the election, and the election now will have been old news. I want to know what's going on in that crazy head of his. You know, I mean, we could see things like he's telling, you know, reporters on airplanes to keep quiet. You know, he's only as concerned about the Democrats who happen to be on the files. He's talking about an MRI that he had, and he has no idea where the MRI, what body part was involved. I mean, how do you not know that, you know? I mean, and it's usually because there's a problem someplace. So they don't just randomly do MRIs for a checkup, you know. I mean, I'm getting an MRI this week, you know, and I had to like fight to get this MRI. You know, I mean, it wasn't like, it was because we exhausted every other thing, you know. So they don't just casually do MRIs. I don't even think they would casually do an MRI just for, you know, the president, just for, I mean, he certainly wouldn't have asked for it, because if he had asked for it, he'd know what it was for. So they don't casually do an MRI on somebody who doesn't know what it's for. You know, crazy. So I just, you know, and you know, the way I feel is when people do crazy stuff, I like to understand their thought process. You know, I just want to see what's in there. You know, I just want to understand it. You know, if you understand something at its core, then possibly you could predict how it will end up, or at least understand what you're dealing with. Now, I know he's crazy. I know he's bat-ish crazy. And I know he's, I don't want to use the word wicked, but he's a deplorable human being. So we know all those things are given. But he's got to know that he's at the end. He has to know that he's at the end. And he's at the end of his marbles. And he's got to know that he's at the end of his life. You know, he's got to. He's decaying. He's decaying in front of us. He took over the bowl of Dorian Gray, right? He took it over. You know, my job was done here. You know, my friend Sebastian, hey Sebastian, in the process of doing my spell, I guess he told me it was around September, I sent him a photograph of the bowl and what it had become. And it was disgusting. And I kept it going for another several weeks, maybe another month and a half that I kept it going. Even after that photograph that I took and sent to Sebastian, which I'll share in I guess I'll share it in my post for those of you who want to see the bowl, the bowl of Dorian Gray. But he's become the bowl of Dorian Gray. You know, he's become the portrait of he's become the portrait of himself and everything that he is, inside and out. It's just kind of come out on the surface. It's just disgusting. So this read will be a signature spread. If you are interested in learning my signature spread, I have a tutorial somewhere. I never remember to add the tutorial in the videos, but if you are interested in how to do my signature spread, just prompt me in the comment section and I will add the signature spread down there for you to see. I'll put it in the description area. And if you do use the signature spread on a public platform, I do request and expect that you give credit, as, where you saw it, because I created it. Okay? Alrighty. So let's flip this camera and try to get some insight into, at this stage, what is he thinking? Alrighty. And today's reading will be using the Golden Tarot of Marseille by Scarabeo. It's a fun deck. Oh. I like to use it. Alrighty. First card right out of the gate is, oh, he knows he's going to hell. Well, it's funny, whether you believe in that sort of thing or not. I think he does. Now, you notice that I had to have my painter's tape on lots of parts because, I get hecklers here, and I've already been reported for, indecency with my cards, and I lost the appeal, so I have to take it seriously, until YouTube takes a stand on art that shows nudity. We'll have to play by this little rule, and as long as there are haters out there who side with the red, who just attack us, and that we've always, this channel's always been attacked by people who think we're evil and wicked doers and stuff like that, but YouTube never gave me a hard time about that kind of thing. But they will give me a hard time if an uncultured individual, clutches their pearls over a breast or nudity. So at any rate, I think he realizes he doesn't care, and he doesn't feel remorse, I don't think. But I think he is aware that he's done some terrible things. And I don't know if he thinks there's an afterlife or not, but I think he's concerned with how he's remembered. Even if he doesn't concern himself with hell, I think he's concerned with how he's remembered, So I think he's, makes these last minute efforts to redeem himself in the public eye. Why it was so, did you just see something fly? There, I just saw something in the camera. I didn't see it in real life. And there's nothing here. That was so weird. What was I saying? Oh, I lost my train of thought. Well, maybe if it comes back to me. Second card. Okay. Oh, I think I was talking about how he's interested in, leaving a legacy so that he at least seems like he's done something good, So he thinks that ballroom, that $350,000 ballroom that he's trying to convince us was paid by other people, that kind of thing, is going to redeem him, or, putting tacky signs in the White House hallways and stuff to tell us which room is which, I'll ever get there to see it, Anybody who's there knows which room is the room they need to go to. Okay, so we have, the suit of pentacles, the suit of coins, could be seen in a number of ways in the context of this question. It could be a legacy thing. It could be a legacy for future generations. We could see it that way. It could also represent somebody in his camp, who's feeding him. It could be either one or both, or it could be something else altogether. Yeah, moving forward. So I think he's concerned about that. I think he's concerned. He's got to salvage moving forward. and he's aware of consequences and punishment. I think he knows on some level, even if he's like putting it out of his mind and stuff. I think he's aware that his behaviors will have consequences. I think so. Front and center of the core 9. 2 batons. So this is, a surprising card for the thrust of the spread, right? 2 is a card of community as far as I see it, and you're entitled to have a different opinion, of course, but I'm the one who's doing this particular reading, so it's my interpretation, right? So I see 2 is a low threshold for community partnerships. So he might be aware that his base has dwindled. He might be aware of it, which is why he's concerned about seeking revenge. I mean, he's all about revenge. Everything is transactional with him. If his people don't like him, then he's going to do something to really hurt them for not liking him. I mean, he just, even people in his regime who are for, the release of the files. I mean, at this stage of the game, even the dumbest of them or the most wicked of them have got to see that he's going down, right? He's going down. And even though they've been deplorable all along with him, they've got to understand that if they side with him, they're going down with him. So they're speaking up and they're like, yeah, I didn't go there, so I have nothing to worry about, right? I had nothing to do with it. So now he's getting retaliated. He's still looking for revenge, I think. I think that's what this is. It's a 10, so it's like maximum damage. In the context of the question, I'm seeing this as damage. Okay, and then we have this loving card, 6 of Cups. Mr. Empathy, Mr. Compassion. Is he trying to look like that? I don't think so. Maybe this is his take on the bleeding heart liberals. I don't know. It seems out of place with him. So let's see what comes next and what ends up being the quint card for this row. Okay, so we have 10 coins. So they're in support of one another, and these are good things. These are really good things, The 10 of coins, again, could be a card of legacy, the end of his life, right? 10 is a number of completion. We already have another 10 here. So we have cards that suggest completion, right? Now, air and earth don't get along with one another, but cups and earth do. So maybe he's trying to make nice at the end with who I don't know. With whom I don't know who he's trying to make nice with. Let's see what the last card in the spread is. And we have another card of swords falling under another sword. So 7 of swords. So he's trying to break out. So I guess at the last minute, he's trying to make himself look like he's a loving individual, I guess. Because he knows this is coming for him. He knows this has happened, that people aren't feeling him. This could be an indication that he's also, in addition to what I already said, that he's aware of his mental decline, right? He's aware that he's in the throes of a very serious mental thing, right? And so there's that. But he is aware, that he wants to do something for the next generation. So he looks like he did something, or that he might have been a great president, or that he had aspects about him that were great. I'm really interested to know what these quint cards are. Give me a minute. I'll be right back. Okay, well, he really sees himself as this guy. And I think to the end, he's, to the bitter end, he's looking at his legacy, or he's looking at creating a legacy. And he wants to be seen as not just the king. He wants to be seen as like the almighty Oz, right? Wow, this guy's batshit crazy. I'm sorry to say it like that, but it's true. Now we see cards that wouldn't surprise us. We see the Fool, a reckless individual, which is in keeping with him. We see Secrets. Now we could see it as a woman. It's possible. a duplicitous woman, but this is a reading about him. And the secrets, there's so many secrets. I mean, there's a list, for God's sakes, right? And she's holding a book, which we could see it as a list, right? So it could be a reference to the secrets in the list, which is something that he doesn't want anybody to see. I mean, he's putting up all the barriers he can. He knows his base has dwindled. He knows he's going to be consequenced if he lives long enough. And he's putting up barriers. Now, you see, I've had like 3 interpretations with the 10 of Swords here. And they're all true, right? They can all be true. It's how I'm perceiving them. So there's a lot of secrecy and duplicity. And it's not necessarily from a woman. I mean, he's the character, right? And then, of course, we have con. Now, he's Don the Con. So we have the con game, right? To the bitter end. To the bitter end. He's just figuring ways to con. Figuring ways to smooth his legacy, but I think he's probably even realized he's come to the end on that. I think he has fear. That he realizes that, he's lost it. He's just in a panic. These are panicking. These cards look like they're panicking. These 2 cards are like the nicest cards, the best cards. And they're kind of strange, falling in a spread for what he's thinking. So he may have moments where he either realizes there is none of this within him, or that he's still trying to make it look like he's a great guy. But he knows he's not. He might be seeing this as like the bleeding heart liberals. And he's trying to do whatever damage at the end that he could do by pulling his con game, Only release the other guys' names, But it's just like, well, why can't we release everybody's names? If you're not on the list, you have nothing to worry about. I mean, come on. How stupid is he, for God's sakes? So does this reading surprise anybody? It seems like it's right up what, I would expect. I would think, I would have seen, I think I would have maybe have thought of other cards that I might have expected to show up. But I think these ones are pretty interesting too. And they tell another aspect of what I was maybe expecting. I wasn't expecting that he is aware that his base has, shrunk, and then he's retaliating against his own kind. It's all about this. And he wants to be remembered as this. But that first card really set the tone, He's desperate. He's in desperate mode here. Well, desperate people, right? And we could see that the Fool, if we recognize the Fool as someone who was originally the origin story of being someone who's unfit for polite society, right? Desperate people do desperate things, So, and we do see, aggression here. We do see some aggression here. So desperate people do desperate things. And so he, might go out in a blaze of venomous behavior. So, even though I think we're nearing his physical demise, and even though I think he's lost his battle with pettiness, he's still going to put it out there. I think he's still going to do it till the bitter end. Until next time, friends, peace, stay well, be brave, moving forward, show up, speak up, and vote. And I'm compelled, I don't know why, but I'm compelled to pull this top card. I'm just itching to see what it is. Ace of Batons. Okay, the rebirth of the people. Rebirth of the people, yes. Show up, speak up, and vote. Absolutely.